Welcome to Gossip. And today, what I'm saying, it's me and my homeboy, my friend. And I kind of want to ask him a couple questions, but at the same time, it's going to be a discussion and not really an interview. Because I see a lot of things going on, and I truly don't think people quite understand the actual times that we're in and what's really going on out here. And I think people are really allowing this moment to pass them by and not really seeing the moment. I think people are really um, not applying themselves or putting toward the proper application toward the right things at this moment in time. I think that we're being guided and played with mentally that got our minds really boggled on what the time actually is and what we truly should be focused on. And those that know it see that they're really being allowed to focus on that very moment. So I brought my homeboy on so that we can truly discuss because I think personally, now I could be wrong, but personally, I feel that there is a problem, and the problem is the useless society. And I really think that there is a useless society. And to some, that may be hard to fathom, but I think over these next few minutes that we talk about this, that people will really, or you guys will really see what I mean by use of society. So the first question that I'm gonna pose to me and my friend here, and we're gonna just try to elaborate on these questions and try to expound upon them so that we can all come to a consensus. And the first question I propose to this discussion is, where do we think people should actually be at this moment based off the conditions that we are experiencing today? And I will open the floor to see if you want to say anything or speak on the subject first.
Well, well, I definitely agree with you that there is a useless society, and I will say that, in fact, most of society is useless.
Mm,
And I would go so far as to use the term or phrase that many of the so-called elite use in regards to those who live within that and who is governed by that society. And that phrase is useless eaters.
right, right.
And when most people hear that term, they're understandably offended. However, any honest person with a general understanding of, let's just say, um, natural law, divine law, etc. Maybe even it would be helpful if they had a working understanding of human development on this planet and the history of at
I
least the
agree
last
with that.
25,000, 26,000 years. What was that, brother?
I said I agree with that because human development is important. Like we if you don't understand where we come from, then there's no way to know where we're going. Go ahead. I like that.
And and you definitely wouldn't be able to understand the reasoning or the why would anybody feel that way about most people, and who do they think they are, etc. That sort of thing. But you see, when we're talking about this subject, and me and you, we are coming from a perspective that is not within the preview of the vast majority of persons out
Right.
there. And it's not because we're special or anything like that. It's just simply because we have chosen to walk a certain path in our lives. And
Mm-hmm.
path demanded of us sacrifice in order to know thyself.
That's right.
And so we are in the process and have been in the process for some time of doing that work and learning ourselves and thus others. And in that journey, there are some very cold, hard facts and uh, realizations that we had to come, and we continue to come and attempt to come to terms with. And this being one of those situations to where when we, knowing what we know now, look out at the society, what we see is not what most people would see.
That's true.
And we have these thoughts and feelings not because of our own will, so to speak, or feelings or our own sensibilities, but because we are, and we know that we must be at all times intellectually honest with ourselves. And the moment that we forget that and we stop doing that, we will become lost again. And the only way to find your way out of this maze and out of the maze that you find yourself in, wherever you are, is that you must be absolutely honest with yourself about yourself
Honest.
and about everything.
Totally honest. And about you and the world. I totally agree.
And so you must be willing to entertain certain information, certain findings, and you must be willing to accept them, even though they may include you or they may reveal something nasty or something less than pleasing about even yourself. You see,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only way we can continue on this journey and grow to what you and I and those like us all around the world and throughout time uh, must do. And that is something very few human beings, sad to say, are willing to do. And that is one of the reasons why the civilization, generally speaking, has fallen into a state of disrepair. Um,
You know, I have I totally agree with you. One of the things that made me, as I was growing up, begin to tell people things was because I always felt like people have not done the work. But yet and though I always felt that if people just heard what the work was, then maybe they would take the opportunity to do it. And I've been finding that lately, well, really not lately, from the beginning, that even when people are told what the work is, they still don't want to do
yeah,
it.
because it's too hard.
I guess
People,
I can agree, but I can't agree at the same time because I've been putting the work in. So,
yeah, but yeah, exactly. And you wonder, you look at yourself, and we look at ourselves, and we say, "Yeah, we ain't nothing special."
That's right, because all the time that's how we look at ourselves. Like, I ain't special. Like, if I can do it, you can do it.
Right. So why is it that these everybody find it so hard to even try, attempt this, think about it, anything? And while I don't know the absolute answer to that, I have some really good see things falling again. My fault. I have some really good hypotheses uh, on why that is so.
Yeah,
But
let me hear one. Go on and share one with us.
well, that's what I intend on doing throughout
Okay.
the conversation. Problem with humanity is that humanity is we are have lost our way in that we have forgotten who and what we are, and therefore we have lost that culture, that mindset that made us that. And so we have become something else altogether.
I totally agree.
And that what we have become is as low or lower than any beast of the field that creepeth or crawleth upon the earth. And in fact, we are lower than those things because those things, above all, know themselves. And we don't even do that. Human beings, as I've said it before, probably the only creature on the earth who lives their entire lives never doing the fundamental thing that all life forms must do, and that is to come to know themselves. Human beings don't even know what they are
At all. I
and don't
totally
even
agree.
care.
Don't care. You
They
know,
have,
and
sorry,
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
well, they have a false notion of themselves.
Yeah, they do, and I was just what I was just about to go into, and and the false notion that we gathered was given to us. You know what I'm saying? We never, most people that are not um wanting to walk that path, they will never be able to truly identify with who they are because they have taken the false notion and they have ran with it.
Exactly, exactly. And it's leading them to their doom.
It is,
Heck,
and they don't even see it.
not at all. And it is so close to them. I mean, it is at their jugular vein, and they don't even see it.
They don't even see it.
And that is why uh, I have the views and feelings that I have regarding most people. And it saddens me in one way, it saddens me to even feel that way. But in another, it doesn't, because one has to one has to determine on which side, for lack of a better um, visual, has to decide which side are they on. Are going to be on the side of nature and the side of the universal law, or are they going to be in opposition to that? It's simple. And once you understand what these things encompass and what we are talking about here, you know you'd have to be a damn fool to oppose those things. And so you have to, by default, oppose anything that is in opposition to that or in corruption or adverse to that. And
Hmm.
that is why those persons who termed that, coined that term or phrase, useless eaters, They were absolutely right and exact that most human beings are useless eaters. They
Agreed.
serve no purpose in the scheme of things. They are mindless automatons going to and fro under a mechanization designed by others for them
Mm-hmm.
and for the benefit and the health of others whom they don't even know. And yet they will never lift a finger to help themselves or those whom they know. In fact, they would do the opposite and undermine, and they do undermine themselves and all those around them whom they claim to love. Because mankind has become a vile creature, resembling himself only in appearance. And that's where the commonalities end.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it stop at. 'Cause that's all we see. It's just the resemblance. Other than that, man is no longer man no more. Man has
They're
turned into
not
a
there,
monster.
period. That's why I say it's mankind.
Mm-hmm.
People will get offended at hearing this, but it's the
Hey,
truth.
let them get offended, but it's the
And the
truth. Only the truth gonna set you free. Shit.
what I say to those who are offended is when we finish this show, I want you to go out and try your best to gather enough knowledge and truth to overcome the argument that we are making. And we already know that you will not be able to do so.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And so then you would have to live with the reality that you do it's true. You are offended by what we are saying. And you may despise us, hate us, mock us, whatever, because of what we are saying. And even though what we are saying is the truth. And I say to you, who hates the truth but the devil?
But who hates it other than the devil?
Exactly. And so then you will come face to face with the reality, coming full circle that you are the devil.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
real
you
quick.
certainly are.
Yeah, real quick that you see what size you on.
We see it every day in people's actions. And we don't speak of this as if we are perfect at
Not
all.
at all. Not at all. Far
See,
from it.
that's the difference between us and you.
Mm-hmm.
We know we are not perfect, and we equally know that we are supposed to be perfect.
That's right.
And so we have enough sense to seek our perfection, never being happy with ourselves or our development until that perfection comes. And the moment it does arrive, it'll be gone. And we'll try this all over again.
All over again.
If you can understand where I'm coming from with that. But
So in saying, what we just discussed, so with with the question I proposed earlier, like where do we think people should be? Now, with us mentioning the useless or the useless society, to give a more I say let's say, to put it in more layman's term, looking at what's going on right now and what's taking place, what is it that people should be doing but they're not doing, and therefore they're useless because they're not doing what they should be doing?
well, I mean, it's a lot of things, and
It is.
I'm, give me some time here. I'm gonna go down. I'm going down. I'm taking the invitation. to discuss those details. It's just I just want to let it be clear that they are vast, and so we're not going to be able to touch on all of them.
Yes.
But we're going to give anyone out there interested a working uh, list, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Or at least a small note of those things. Well, I would say that first and foremost, at the heart of it all is narcissism, which we all know springs forth from the ego.
Mm-hmm.
It is the ego, the out of control, untempered, unmanaged ego of the individuals comprising the society that is the foremost adversary to humanity and the problem. It is also man's ignorance and their pleasure, seeming pleasure in waddling in that ignorance. That is the problem.
Like pigs.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And humanity is so foolish that they actually believe their egos to be themselves. And that right there is the crux of the problem. How do you call something to task when it's you? At least you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You see? But what they don't understand is that the ego is not you at all. You see, the ego is a parasite that has attached itself to you and convinced you that you and it are one and the same. And in that way, it hides itself from you and in giving it protection. Because if you don't know that you are infected with a parasite, you won't treat yourself for that. And so it is safe to feed on you throughout all the days of your life. And all along the way, you think that its thoughts is your thoughts, that its destiny is your destiny, that its will is your will.
That's right. I'm gonna
And
say
it's
this.
not.
I'm gonna say this. Now we was talking before we actually got online, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm gonna point this out because a lot of people may not see this, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it blatant. And there, like we was talking earlier about the mind exists in a realm that is completely separate from this one. And so the
Mhm.
ego, you can look at it like people can look at it like this. The ego is a mind, or matter of fact, it could be a entity that follows you around that you cannot see, that is constantly talking to you. And the reason why you have a hard time distinguishing the I between the me, or the ego between the true self, is because it's in your head. And when something is in your head, you tend to think that it is you.
Mhm. Exactly.
But if there was a person standing beside you and was telling you stuff the same way the ego worked, you can easily disagree or not go along with it. But because it's
Right.
in your head, you think you can, the parasite can easily take over the body.
Yeah. I mean, it has. It is the
It
body.
is.
So really, because it is tied to it
It is.
intimately, you know. Now let's see, uh, we're going to touch on a lot of different these subjects in a lot of different ways. We're going to show you different angles at the same thing in order to provide some clarity and give the people out there who are interested some things to work with. to boil down what our premise is and our position is, and what we believe those persons who coined the term useless eaters, what their position is this: humanity in general, as a whole, is profane. They are in outbursts and in direct opposition to the truth, to the law. That when I say the law, I am referring to natural law and divine law. That humanity is its own enemy. That every negative characteristic you can think of exists wholly and complete in most human beings and are acted upon daily and used or demonstrated daily.
Mm-hmm.
For an example, people don't understand. They look around and they complain about their government. And then they turn around and they vote in the very same damn people who they just got through complaining about. Why? They do this because subconsciously, they know or that is the government that they want. Because if they did not want that government, certainly they would vote against it. But here is the crux. But see, their representative is not the problem. It's not their representative. It's those others. You see, they will not vote out someone they voted in because they made that choice. And therefore, they made the right choice because it was theirs, right? They can't be wrong. And so they'll vote for the same bum again and again and again because it is not their politician that's the problem. It's those others.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And so you got that selfishness, that narcissism, that ego rearing its ugly head in just this situation alone, as far as dealing with elections in the government. People complain about how evil governments are, about how the government have killed so many millions of people in wars, and how the government oppresses its own citizenry or minorities within that system, how government oversteps its authority and violates the rights of its citizenry. People accuse the government of all these things, and yet these governments are still reigning. They're still governing.
Ain't they though?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And the truth is, you know, those Illuminati that you people love to blame for every bad thing going on in the world. Let me tell you a little secret. The Illuminati has not done a single thing that you accuse them of. You want to know why? Because you did it all. Everyday people were the ones serving in these militaries who went over to other countries and bombed them to hell.
That's right.
Who killed and murdered their babies and stole their resources for those elites. You did that.
You did that.
You greedy ass people went into your grocery stores and bought all manner of food that you didn't even need and threw half of it away, knowing or should know that by you doing so, someone had to go hungry. See, we like to throw away food. You're the number one cause of people starving to death or living malnutrition.
That's right.
You liking your 50,000 varieties of toaster strudel. You know what I'm saying?
And whatever else you like.
That you're the reason why some guy or some guy in his family down in Paraguay, has to pay for them the equivalent of a week's salary for a decent meal.
Mm-hmm.
You're gluttony, and I like to eat people. I like to eat, but I'll tell you one thing: I don't waste food.
No, that's right.
That's one thing I don't do. Okay, and see, but you are so aloof. You don't even consider what any action you take from day to day, how it will affect someone else, your brother, your neighbor, your cousin, or some stranger. You don't even take into consideration the law, meaning the law of correspondence, cause and effect.
That's right. You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying so-called brown people.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I forgot.
it's
That was accurate. They wouldn't know what we're talking about. These blacks,
they
right? With brown fucking skin. So stupid and ignorant. They don't even, you got grown ass people who refuse to state the obvious that they are not black. And I can hear one of these jigaboos right now, okay? I can hear one right now saying, there are black people in Africa. That's not you, you ignorant. Are you black in Africa? No. Shut the fuck up. Excuse my language. I'm so sick and tired of these ignorant ass people with this nonsense. They say the same things over and over again, as if that makes it true. It just makes you dumber than the first time.
well when you tell yourself a lie over and over again, you begin to believe it more and more.
And not only that, how stupid you have to be.
Very.
How stupid. Little children.
Very stupid.
Yeah. Little children, though, got more sense to this. And we beat the intelligence out of them. That's what's wrong with our community.
Let me say this. We're not trying to be mean, but we do want you to be analytical. It's important to examine shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he said earlier, he had the scientist type of mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's important to examine shit. Don't never take anything for its weight in gold. Examine everything.
And not only that, but you don't have to sugarcoat every fucking thing all the time. How are we ever going to get anywhere if we keep on sugarcoating everything? We know we eating dookie. And nobody got the goddamn guts to stand up and say, man, I'm tired of eating this shit.
Yeah, that's true. Because we eating a lot of shit.
Exactly. But no one wants to call it that.
Yeah.
Because they want to be like
politically correct.
Yeah. But let me tell you something. People, especially our people, have been cuddled for a long time now. Now, I'm not saying we've been cuddled by the government and law enforcement because they billy club don't feel all cushiony and shit.
Damn sure don't. And that bullet don't feel all warm and cozy.
Exactly. And so I'm referring to by our own leadership and maybe by others who might be sympathizers or wolves in sympathizer clothing.
I know that shit, right?
Okay. And if you look at the results of that, it's been a miserable failure because we have gone absolutely nowhere in reality. In fact, we've gone backwards. Okay. And so looking at that, if someone really cared for somebody, would they continue lying to them just to make them feel good? Or will they look them in the face and tell them the cold, hard truth in hopes that that person will snap out of it, wake the hell up, and change? I uh, uh, think that it would be the latter. And so, anyone out there who thinks I hate anybody, especially my people, are sadly mistaken. I just happen to know who and what my people are. And it infuriates me and enrages me to see them in the condition that they are in and to be content with that condition because I see it as a disgrace. How are the founders of civilization clueless to its rules?
That's true. That needed to be said because for some reason these people do not understand who they are. We left off is that you mentioned that the founders of the world. What did you say? You said the founders. You said the people
Oh yeah, I
that
said
started.
yeah, I said how is it that the founders of civilization are somehow confused or do not know or unaware of its rules.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, you have the uh, parent. Excuse me. You have the parent who has basically abandoned their obligation and their responsibility, and then standing around complaining and crying about how the children are running the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disgusting. It enrages me when I look out and see the world in the state that it is in, and then look at my people in the state that they are in, knowing who they are. It's infuriating.
Yes, very much so.
It's
And
something I can barely stomach. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
no, you exactly right. Like it's hard to stomach it when you have that level of self awareness and you look at them and you be like, why, when I tell you who you are, you shine upon it. But yet when they tell you who you are, you agree to it.
Oh, because in their minds, in their subconscious mind, and in their conscious mind, that is their daddy and master. So
And
they
you
are.
know that has to be that has to be how they look at it. It has to
It,
be.
it is. It is. They're, for lack of a better word, uh, they're brainwashed. But really, I don't like to even use that terminology or even to throw that out there because for too long, our people and all people, because this applies to everybody, really. But I'm saying what we're talking about here today applies to all people. We just simply at times single out our people because, and to be perfectly honest with you, we see our people as biggest offenders, so to speak, of
Mm-hmm.
what we are referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And being that they have the bigger responsibility and duty, they are
Mm-hmm.
going to have the biggest penalty to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Judgment is rendered. The verdict is already in, as far as I'm concerned. And right now we're seeing that the judgment, the penalty is being uh, brought down and read before the court and before the world to see. And it's going to be a doozy and totally just, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not gonna be pretty.
No, it's not. And it hasn't been pretty as it is. And
True.
again, the world is so busy. And let's just get back to a more broader context because we don't want to narrow this context because it's too important to do that. But most people in the world would point to, uh, you know, their boogeyman, whomever that be, the communists, the socialists, the fascists, the whomever, the capitalists,
Mm-hmm.
as if this is somehow someone other than them. It's fascinating because all of these uh, systems and ideologies exist in the countries, any particular country you'd like to pick out. Some more than others, meaning not some in more some countries in more than some countries than others. No, I mean some countries may be more fascist than communist, right? And some may be more communist than capitalist, right? And but at the end of the day, these styles or forms of organization or control, because that's what they are, they're all fundamentally the same thing once you get beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Still the same thing. And so it doesn't matter what you call them, uh, it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
You have a small group of persons dictating for the masses their day to day activities and lives, what they can do, what they can, how their children grow up, the manner in which their children are reared, so on and so on and so on. You even have dumb ass people all around the world who think it necessary and even pertinent to go, or prudent, I should say, sorry, to go to their respective governments and obtain a license in order that they get married. Now, I want everybody to try to understand what I'm saying and what this implies. See, which I know most people don't even contemplate these things, which is really why the world is in the condition it's in.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to point this out and beat this drum again and again because you're going to see it rear its ugly head from beginning to end. A license is defined universally as permission from an authority to do something that would otherwise be unlawful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the union between a male and a female has taken place throughout the entirety of our species' existence. Before there was ever any government in existence,
Mm-hmm.
that relationship existed. How then can a creation of man and mankind claim to have sovereignty and authority over an institution and a relationship which predates it?
Mm-hmm.
How can it be illegal for a man and a woman to come together to raise a family when nature itself demands that that must be. For all of you religious out there, irregardless of your religions, how is it that you who claim to believe in your religion and your creator, how do you allow and tolerate a fiction of your own creation, the government, to claim to have authority over something your Lord created?
Yeah,
And or
and it's amazing that people don't do they don't analyze how is it possible that even though people are told that my pastor said that we have to get married and we have to get married in front of a pastor and all of this dogma that people have been conditioned to believe. How is it possible that without any that, or should I say, that you put no analytical thought into the fact that why does somebody else have to give me permission to join who I choose as my partner?
well, not
Who told them, or who told you that somebody had to condone your marriage before you can get married?
well. I don't know, but to me, that's not even is that doesn't even reach the level of offensiveness and abomination that the government requiring a license for you to get married.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, that's on a whole nother note.
because in other words, the government has declared illegal that which nature and God ordained. Think about that.
Hmm.
And you follow it. All of you people out there, you obey that government.
Yes.
Prerequisite and declaration.
Hmm. Yo,
And no man can serve. I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
exactly right. Like the government is your God, and that is
Exactly.
clear. That is very clear. Like you
Your
can
actions prove that.
exactly, you can argue it all you want, but your actions prove that the government is
Mhm.
God.
You can say otherwise with your lips, but when your feet, your hands, and your head say yes, we don't care what you're saying out your
I'm
mouth.
telling you.
And now we can all understand the true nature and meaning of that passage in that book that says, on that day of judgment, the people will say, Lord,
Mm,
Lord, and called on him, and he will say, get away from me, you workers of iniquity. I know you not.
I know you not.
You see?
Hmm.
And so, for all of you out there who think you're going to be able to sanctify yourself out of this mess, you are wrong. In fact, your very claiming that is your doom,
Hmm.
because God is going to kill you for your insolence and your sacrilege and your abominations,
Hmm.
using his name or her name in vain. You claiming to pray and believe in the Creator, and you are aiding and abetting the Creator's enemies.
Enemies.
Really, not his enemies, yours, but de facto his, because he gave you the position,
Mm-hmm.
or one gave you the position. See, and you've advocated that,
Mm-hmm.
placed it with something that it, it did not ordain for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you catching hell.
Mm-hmm.
You are profane. You are a sinner.
Mm-hmm.
Sinner. People don't even know the meaning of the the word sin.
That's true. Let me add this in there before you go into what the word sin means. It's like when the Bible said that, I'm bringing up the Bible because of what we just mentioned. The Bible said that, God said that you asked for a king, so I gave you a king.
You don't, damn. See, I was gonna go. Oh man,
Hey,
see, I was building up
you
to
can st-
that.
you can still pick
It was
you can
coming
still
out, but
pick back up on it though. But
no, you
let me say this. Hopefully, I don't forget how I'm trying to put it. But
now go for
it's
it. You know what
it's
I'm saying?
when the Bible say, you asked for a king and God gave you a king.
No, I'm just playing.
Say what now?
I'm just mad. I'm just jealous because I was like, damn, that was I built my whole thing
Nah,
around that. Go
it's
for it,
all
though.
good, bro.
We just on the same path. That's all.
And so when you asked for a king and God gave you a king, now God gave people a king because they asked for a king. It's just like, okay, God gave you a government because you elect the government or you choose to partake in a fictitious arrangement that looks like you're electing your government. I put it that way. When you choose to follow that versus God, you are in blasphemy right there.
Mm-hmm. That's very true, and it goes even further than that because if we remember the story, it wasn't just that we asked for a king, so he gave us one. We asked, and he initially said no.
Oh, of course.
You
Oh yeah.
see, he
Oh
said
yeah.
no.
That was
You ain't no damn
yeah. That was it.
You see, people don't even know that book is not what it appears to
At
be.
all.
Though it is a compilement and it comprises of wisdoms from a vast array of civilizations and ages, schools of thought, etc. Right, and and of course it is codified, and there are things put in and taken out, etc. But even with that being said, it has within it consonants, uh, sublime wisdom, right? If you know what you're looking at.
Yeah, you have to know what you're looking at.
If you don't have the keys, you don't know the book. You see? And so most people, they are they historize something that wasn't even history, or they in their mind anyway. The dogma or the way that the so-called Bible is presented is not what it is saying. Okay, and but uh, much of what is in there is absolutely true if you know what it's saying. And you have to know first and foremost that it is a book of law. Secondly, it is a book of science, of astrology, astronomy, cosmology, cosmogony, and biology. When you know that, then you can begin to understand the sublime nature of its contents.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't have those keys, so they believe in bedtime stories, basically. You know what I'm saying? Which is a
Yeah.
shame. But um, the book, when the creator refuses to allow us to have a king, the reason for that, which some will say, because he was the king. Well, not at that time. It wasn't quite looked at like that. No. But eventually, that was a compromise that took place. Okay. But it was because every man was a king and every woman was a queen of their own estates. Really, at the end of the day, the Bible is concerning trust and estate that has been placed into trust and for the purpose and benefit of the heirs being the descendants of the man and women who first walked the earth. The grantor being that creator who created not just those beings, but all beings, right? And so we're talking about the supreme authority, not just some God, because there are many gods.
That's right.
But the supreme creator of the cosmos and others, or elsewhere, I should say. And so there's no one, even if there was a higher authority per se, that authority could not change in any way that grant. Why? Because it didn't have jurisdiction.
That's right. That's why God couldn't take away free will. Because he didn't have that jurisdiction.
You mean that's why God adheres to free will and allows free will? Go. Is because, yeah, and that's true. You see, and even in that is a key, a sign. If examined and looked at, see, and which is what we're getting into now. You see, the creator of the universe granted man an estate, and that estate exists corporeal and incorporeal, meaning physical and tangible, and non-tangible, meaning spiritual or energetic, right? And man is supposed to be competent enough to manage and maintain that estate, right? Which is why he did not want to give you a king, because a king is a trustee. Any ruler or government is de facto a trust and a trustee. And the only reason for the existence of a trust really is because the beneficiary, or at least one of the beneficiaries, is not yet competent to manage the affairs of the estate.
Exactly. The same reason why they gave you a pastor.
Exactly. So he can walk you around grazing like the sheep.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? Talking about everybody can't interpret something that they read with their own eyes.
Yeah, so that you can get nice and fat and plump for your gods who eat you.
That's right. You know.
Yeah, that's how foolish.
That is how foolish people are.
You know, but and so when you accept or even demand that you be given a king, you are confessing to the supreme judge, probate judge, the creator of the universe. You are confessing that you are not equipped or competent to manage your inheritance. And therefore, you lose at least the power and authority to manage it, right? And someone is giving that is vested with that authority, and that would be a king or the government. So you see, you people forfeited your rights to manage your estate and your affairs. And so now you must be managed like all other livestock.
Hmm.
You see, because you are useless.
That's right. And so if there's a demand that some of your livestock has to be killed off, then that's just what it got to be. Because
They do all that. That's how you. That's how a proper and uh, that's how a prudent farmer or shepherd would manage and maintain his flock at a proper a number, right? And it would not allow that flock to get to such a size to where it is
that's right.
unmanageable and can easily coronavirus and
Oh yeah. And
even though we know it's BS, but anyway, it's okay because they aid in canceling your ass to the grave. So they got you. They got you. Believe that. So, and he would not allow them to get to such a number to where they're over using the resources. And when he discovers that that's the case, what does he do? He reduces the population.
that's right.
Anybody would do that, right?
Hmm.
That doesn't make him evil. That just makes him a wise and prudent uh,
And that's right. And you can't be mad at your king because he decided to cull back on his flock because you wanted a king.
exactly. You people go out there every 4 years, 2 to 4 years, and you confess again and again and again to that crime of abandoning your
Hmm.
estate, abandon your estate, and you forfeit any rights to it. And understand, your rights, all the rights that you have, are tied to that estate and the title that represents that estate. And so you lose the right to be certain things, to do certain things, to enjoy certain things, to manage certain things, and to
That's
decide
right.
certain things. That's
That's
what
what
you
they
do,
lost.
right?
Hmm.
So why are you crying? Why are you upset at someone outside of yourself for you being retarded and having some suffering from some malady or condition which renders you inheritable? Why are you upset about that fact when it's you who are the only one with the ability to change that and with the duty to
Hmm.
change it?
Because if you don't do nothing, nothing's gonna change.
Exactly. It can't. It
That's
can't.
right.
A trust can never, ever turn over an estate to someone who is incompetent. This is basic understanding of trust law. And this trust law, people got to understand, this trust law were codified by your ancient ancestors. It's not modern stuff. Trust is the most ancient law there is. Okay? It predates every other form of law.
Hmm.
So or theory of law. Okay, so you got to understand that this is what your problem is. This is what's going on.
Hmm.
You are destroying the earth. Now, when people say it's not us, it's these billion-dollar corporations, these multinational corporations, and all these companies, and they the ones devouring all the resources. Really? Who's buying those products? You? Oh, so you're the one who is creating and enabling the market for these resources in those numbers
Hmm.
because you have a disposable life, a disposable, what I'm saying, a disposable world with your lazy self. You don't want to have to fix nothing. You just go out and buy another microwave oven when that one breaks, right? Constantly polluting your house. You see, you the one who make those goods. Oh yeah, that's right. The public, right? They got a name for you guys. I'm trying. What is it? Oh yeah,
Hmm.
consumers.
That's exactly what they call them.
because you what consume.
Mm-hmm.
They're really providing that sustenance for
For
your
you to
consumption
consume.
because they are duty bound to feed you whatever you
That's
want to eat.
right.
It's yours. It's your estate. You may not be able to manage it, but you're supposed to be able to benefit
Mm-hmm.
from it. So if you eat bullshit, they gotta give it
That's
for you.
right. That's right. They gotta feed you what you want, cause it's just like, hey, if you're not gonna eat
Exactly.
it, why we gonna feed it to you? We're gonna feed you what you want it, what
Exactly.
we know you want to eat.
There you go. They put it out for taste testing and sampling to see if that's what the miners want. Just like you do your baby. You got a couple of different jars of baby food open and you give it a little bit of this. And you know, he don't want that. He's spitting it out. You really just want him to eat because you know he needs nourishment. Do you keep trying to feed him the food he's spitting out? No. You go to that
Mm-hmm.
other jar. And when he like, he start whining, you feed him that.
Mm-hmm.
You keep
Hey, that's just literal. You know what I'm saying? You have to treat a
you
baby
know,
like a
so
baby.
yeah, that's all that's going on. If you doubt it, go and look and read the laws. You understand? Go read the court decisions. Go read the history of the law and its development. Look up parens patriae. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. It's a French term or derived from a French term, and it basically means uh, uh, it's like the parent's prerogative or the parent's authority. In other words, the government is your parent. The governments all over the world claim that they are the parents of the people. Can you believe that? And it's on, and they wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
You can go look it up. This is the legal theory and authority behind many acts of the government that we all don't like. You see, because they're your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's a joke? Well, let's see. Let's see. Let's look at this thing here. See? If this is not true. Well, we know that they think that they're your children's parents because you see, when they don't like how you're rearing their child,
Mm-hmm.
they step in and take that child from
They
you, don't
damn
they?
sure do.
That goes to show you unequivocally who they think that child
That's
belongs
right.
to. Fool. You see? They lock your ass
That's
up
right.
too for how treating
For
their child.
mistreating their child, not yours, but their
That's right.
child.
Because that's their property, their kid,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you do refer to them as your kids, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what a kid is?
Mm-hmm. Go on, tell them.
A baby
A
goat.
baby goat.
Again, the livestock reference.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and you read the agricultural laws in the United States and other places throughout the world, you'll find that you're listed there,
Mm-hmm.
you see, as a beast of burden.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't matter what your skin color
They
is.
damn sure don't, cause that apply to all.
All you dumb bigots out there, let me explain something to you. You was the first slave that ever walked this earth. In fact, the term slave denotes
It
European.
does.
Let me just say it.
Slavic.
It is a nationality, Slavic, called such because of the sheer number of them who went into captivity. Thank you. So next time you use that word slave, understand you should have a vision, a picture of yourself. Because we were never slaves. We were enslaved. It's a difference.
It's a big difference.
Because I'm not a Slavic. You are, though, most of you. So, but anyhow, the governments of the world don't give a damn about any of those things. They use these things to control the herd. Sometimes they don't want a Kobe cow to mate with a black Angus. They don't want that except in certain circumstances. They need to create a certain livestock with certain characteristics, then it's okay.
Then it's okay. They want a Kobe Angus.
Exactly. So, when whenever you go and excuse me, anything you have to do of any import in order to go and travel, you have to get a driver's license. And when you're going far enough, you got to get a passport.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at those two things to see what the government think of you and what in fact you really are to them. Again, that license is permission to do what otherwise would be illegal. Who made it illegal for human beings to go from one part of the land to another? How is it illegal when there's no natural barriers and we got feet? Why do we have to get a license to go from one place to another? It is to serve several purposes, one of them being to restrict, to control the movements and the commercial activity of their children. When you have your little 2-year-old and you're out at the beach or in some crowded place, don't you tie on that child this little tether thing and tie it around their waist or their wrist and around your wrist so that your child can't go too far? It's the same concept. Now, when your child gets a little older, more mature, or your child proves itself to be a little bit more compliant with your rules, you may and may not wear that tether. Use that. They may or may not need that tether. But until such time, they're going to wear it. You tell your child when they go out and play, don't leave out from in front of this house. Right? Because you don't want anything to befall your child. You're scared that if they go out too far, they'll get in danger or hurt. You won't be able to help them. So as a good parent, you make sure they stay bicycles. They're doing the same thing. You just mistakenly think of yourself as an adult, and you're not an adult. You're a minor, legally and otherwise. Never understand you are over the age of 18. That's irrelevant. Because for legal purposes, it doesn't matter if you're over the age of 18. If you are not mentally competent, you're the same as a minor. So, again, we see that the government treats you like they'll treat you like a child. You need a passport to go between nation states because that is the realm of commercial activity. And they need all of their commercial products, to be listed and to be logged so that they know the movements of their goods. This is why you need a passport because you are some of those goods.
And then have not to change the subject or to add on to this, is just something I'm throwing out there. But people have been traded on the stock exchange as real estate.
Yeah.
And
everyone in the Western world, pretty much everyone on the earth, has been converted. Their very flesh and blood, along with their corporeal properties, chattels, have been converted to a commercial instrument and asset. And that commercial instrument and asset has a value. And it is traded, bought and sold on the world's stock exchange, or I should say commodities exchange.
And that show you how much your king care about you. That he will sell you and make money off you and not give me and not share any of the money with you.
Well, because you see, well, not really them. They're not selling them, they're selling their estate because they're the trustees and they have a right to do that. They have a right to dispense trust property in any way they see fit. Your flesh, your blood, your bone is merely the first house of the beneficiary.
So let me take it here. So when we really are talking about that people are useless, it's let me in saying that you're useless, you are a benefit to somebody. But who are you or who are we referring to when we're saying that you're useless? You're useless to the creator. And the government who is playing the intermediary or your pastor who is playing the intermediary between you and the creator.
Mhm.
That let me see how I want to put this. That is what really makes you a part of the useless society. I want to say, you know what I'm saying, with for lack of words. Um,
Yeah, I'm
now
sorry. I
you
thought,
good. If you want to say something, go
I
ahead,
was
because I'm
thinking.
thinking myself.
Yeah. You know, again, we have, I think we have clearly demonstrated to any rational, honest person, even though we haven't even touched on these subjects, but believe me, everything we're saying, we can prove to such a degree that you'd be buried in the data and evidence. What we're saying is a fact, okay? It's not our opinion, it's not anything, it's a fact. We can show you thousands and thousands of times over by their own writings, okay, that this is what they're doing. But the issue, and that's not really the main issue. The main issue is that you are allowing it to
that
happen.
is the issue. That's the real issue at hand.
And so your acquiescence, meaning your non-rebuttal, or your uh, you not acting against it, is a contract. It's admitting, it's agreeing. So it's hard to come back later after 50 years of you agreeing to something and you unilaterally trying to change the terms and conditions of a
That's
contract.
right.
Because that's what you're
That's
doing.
right.
I'm sorry, I started thinking
No, you
again.
good. I want to tell people this. They're going to cull off this useless society, and you can tell that it's starting to happen now. Coronavirus is to mention, and
It's warming you up for the
that's right.
kill.
Like they was really just running a test on you. You know what I'm saying? The
Mm-hmm.
kill is about to come, and I'm gonna tell you how it's about to come.
And been happening
Huh?
really. And it's been happening really over the last 2 3 or more generations of
Mm-hmm.
people. They've been slowly implementing this plan and policy to reduce the population by 95%.
Exactly. And I'm gonna tell you guys what is about to happen. I'm gonna start with the beginning of 2020. In the beginning of 2020 was winter. When they finally wanted to acknowledge that COVID was, or I can't say acknowledge, but finally decided to spread mass panic, was in the winter, and so they shut everything down. And now they
Mm-hmm.
telling you that because it is hot outside, a virus cannot live, and so therefore you're free to go play again. Guess what?
Well, they're not even saying that. They saying they still don't want you to be able to go out. It's a disagreement between two sides on that because one side is saying, yeah, you can go out. The other side is saying, no, not
That's
yet.
right. But what I'm telling them is that winter is about to come again, because this is what I really want them to understand as far as if you continue to be useless or consumers versus producers, how they are about to meet their demise. And how they're about to meet their
Mm-hmm.
demise is because winter is about to come back around. And anybody that is paying attention, time is moving very fast right now. And winter is about to come back around, and they're gonna shut everything down once again. With the amount of food shortages, the amount of toilet tissue shortages because of you consumers that want to buy up everything and not leave room for your fellow man or woman, you're
Mm-hmm.
about to fall into a deep famine. If you
Oh yeah, that's for
Yeah, they're
sure.
about to fall into a deep famine, the one that hasn't been seen in a very, very long time. Because
Mm-hmm.
and there's about I think they say it's what 36 million people unemployed right now. When this winter hits, it's gonna be probably 100 million people unemployed because they're
Yeah,
gonna treat this winter of COVID like 10 times as worse as they treated the one that just passed. They're gonna say COVID is so rampant now that they gotta shut down everything. And
oh yeah, they yeah,
and they're
yeah,
gonna use it because of the heat. They're gonna say that asymptomatic people was around everybody else and now everybody got damn corona. So they not gonna take any chances, but what they're really doing is culling their flock. They're making the flock more manageable. They're setting the stage. And if you're not a performer or you're not your own magician, you're
right.
gonna fall for a ploy that you didn't have to be a part of.
Absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
go
I
ahead, go
mean,
ahead.
I mean, uh, for those out there who are listening in and are horrified at what they hear, you should
Yeah,
be horrified.
very.
But instead, that you should be horrified at the fact that this is true and that is you. Stop projecting on others what you yourself are guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem with what we love to do. See, we love this boogeyman, this Illuminati, or the 13 bloodlines, or the Anunnaki. We love this boogeyman that we can hang our hat on, blame for all of the conditions that we are in, and say, see, they are the evil ones. And the truth of the matter is, you are a damn lie. You are the evil. Because again, you're the one doing this stuff. You're the one actually. They are just designing
Mm-hmm.
it and implementing it by eating, and then you're agreeing and carrying it
Mm-hmm.
out. Neat, not a single Rothschild or Rockefeller went into Iraq and killed a single child, but that was you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we do here on the streets every day when we killing in these cities and whatnot. We are the ones doing all of the killing and stealing and
Mm-hmm.
mayhem. You see? So at the end of the day, if there was ever a judge and a judgment coming on this earth, what the hell make you foolish people think that creator was going to ever permit your filthy, lying ass to go to heaven? Because you pray? You people are silly. Okay? You think you can kill innocent and then pray, and that's going to
I'm
wipe that
telling you.
away? You make a mockery of your God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my creator, my creator, that ain't my creator. You know what my creator gonna do? He gonna kill the shit out of me. If I do. He gonna judge the shit out of me. I killed myself. You see, ain't no way in the world a just being would ever allow the unjust to receive justice. How he would never allow for those who did not give equity to receive it. You see? So you gotta understand that, the creator is not a human being. That the creator, if the creator saw fit to set up certain laws and rules in its creation, right? And I mean, if it did that, you think it did it for no reason? You don't think that you're bound by the law? You're above the law, huh? Really? See, I like to play with the creator. Just like you like to play with your life and the lives of your children and your children's children. And nobody is doing a damn thing about what's going on. Do you know that I want your people to think about this for a second. Even above all of the things that we have already stated, which should infuriate anybody with any kind of sense, especially when they find out that it's true, right? But did you know that every time a child is born, a ritual is performed on that child, and this ritual goes back to old Babylon. First, the first act, first thing that the child experiences when it comes into this world is violence. Where it's not hit or his butt. You see, when the child is born, they strike the child, and the child cries and yells out. Now think about that.
That should be some disgusting shit to you.
It should be. These people should. I mean, they should be killed. Think about that. The most innocent and helpless thing in the world. Its first experience in the world is violence. And then you wonder why they grow up to be violent. You see? No one ever questions this as to why this is. I'm sorry.
No, you good, bro. It's just the amount of the lack of thinking that people do. It amazes me.
And this is a vast subject, and there's a lot of things we could point to and talk about, But we have already demonstrated to the people sufficiently to make a case in any courtroom. You see, because really what's going on is that they are being prosecuted.
And they don't even know it. I had a homeboy tell me that he'll worry about judgment when he die. I'm like, dude, do you not realize that you being judged every day, nigga? When you die, the verdict is in, nigga. You getting sentenced.
Exactly.
Bro, your judgment is right now.
Exactly. During your lifetime, you're being judged. You're not. I mean, it doesn't. Ain't that a blip? You die. You die. You get away with all of your bullshit on this plane. You die. You go to this next plane, and you get to make your case. Why you deserve to get into that higher plane, even though you don't fucked up down here so bad. I mean, it's you don't stand a chance in hell. But on a serious note, if we again go to certain religious traditions, whether it be the Islamic tradition of humanism, or it be biblical information or whatever, you will be able to see that really what's going. The devil is not in opposition to God. You will find that the devil is an agent of God. He's working for God because the devil is the greatest prosecutor in the cosmos. And he's there prosecuting the case to prove to the creator that this little stupid animal you created right here, called man, does not deserve the authority you placed upon it.
That's right. That's your Job story.
Exactly. And so, yeah, right. It's the Job story, you know. When you look at, you on?
I am here, my brother.
All right, all right.
Now, to pick up where we left off.
Oh yeah, in Islamic tradition, Iblis being the character, being the devil, who is said to have loved the creator so much that there is not a place on the earth which you can place your finger where Iblis did not bow down and make obeisance to Allah. Think about that for a second. The devil, so-called devil, worshiped the creator so much that there is not a single place on the earth you can put your finger where he has not prostrated himself and submitted to that creator. How many of you have done that? None. Damn, he way ahead of you, ain't it? And you say he ain't going to heaven, even though he already in there, right? Because he's always talking to the creator. He's always in the creator's presence. So somehow he must be admitted into paradise, into heaven, and not just heaven, the highest heaven. You see? While we down here in the boondocks. But, you know, so, excuse me. It says that Iblis, when the creator, when Allah made man, or first said he was going to make a vicegerent and place him into the earth, the angel said, whoa. Are you going to create that which would create mischief and the shedding of blood? And Allah says, I know what you know not. And then when Allah created the man, he told the man, go and inform the angels of their name and all the beasts of the earth, name all the beasts of the earth, which the man did. Now, by doing so, the creator was demonstrating the authority he had placed in the man. That the man would have the authority and the ability to name everything in creation, including the angels, signifying the man's authority as God's vicegerent, which means God's successor or Allah's successor. Even though in Islam they would get mad at that, it's shirk, that whatever you didn't write it, Allah did. Talk about it, you know. And so when Allah told the angels and the jinn in Islamic tradition to bow down and make obeisance to Adam, they all obeyed, except for Iblis and his followers. So now here we have the creator of the universe telling the angels and the jinn and all other beings bow down and make obeisance to Adam, or the man. So this is declaring, this is a declaration by the Creator that man is God and worthy of worship. Think about it. Because again,
They don't want to think that hard, but go ahead though.
Right, I know. And so they all bowed down, except for Iblis and his followers. Now we got a problem. You know, we got a mutiny. You see. So when Allah asked Iblis, why have you disobeyed me? Why have you not bowed down? And Iblis said, oh Allah, he is not worthy. You made me a smokeless fire. You made him of black and sounding clay. And I shall never bow down to him. And then Allah said to Iblis that you are cursed. You are accursed. And that on the day of judgment, he would be judged. Iblis said, oh Allah, please respite me, meaning give me a little bit of time. And Allah said, surely thou art of the respited ones, meaning I'm going to give you a little time. And then Iblis said, because you, Allah, have allowed me to remain disappointed, I shall go in thy Siratul Mustaqim, which in Arabic means the path. He said, I shall go from before them, from behind them, from the left side, and from the right, and you won't find most of them thankful. But wait, thankful for what? But first, let me deal with Iblis's words, disappointed. Because you have allowed me to remain disappointed. What was Iblis disappointed in? Iblis was disappointed that the Creator would give such a high grant of estate, such an inheritance to a being who had not earned it, who had not shown themselves to be thankful to Allah, to love Allah, to worship Allah, and they have done none of these things. And yet the Creator has bestowed upon them the highest honor, the highest position, the highest status possible. Okay? So that is what Iblis had a problem with, because he did not feel that man was worthy of Allah's gift to them. And so because he loved the Creator so much, because he's standing before all of the glory of the Creator, and he's looking at this thing that the Creator created, this puny thing, and he's like, I worship you and you alone. And I'm not going to worship this man, because not only is he beneath you, he's beneath me. And if he's beneath me, he's certainly not worthy of worship. That was Iblis's cry. Not that Iblis hated God, or the devil hated God, or wanted to oppose God. No, it was man that Iblis hated. And so then when you go to the words, you won't find most of them
Mm-hmm.
thankful.
Mm-hmm.
Thankful for what? The status and the position that the Creator had
Mm-hmm.
granted them. And how will we know that they weren't grateful, that they were ungrateful? Because they will disrespect that estate. They will abandon it, exactly as we have done today. And so you see, evilness of the devil is right on the money when he says that we are unworthy of what we have been granted. And that in the end, we are going to prove to the Creator by our own actions that we are not worthy.
And just like the title of this show,
And that's
useless.
exactly. And so you see that plan is in full swing and really has been is happening
Mm-hmm.
right now. Okay, we are being tried, and we have been on trial for our disobedience for the law for over the last several
Mm-hmm.
thousand years. You see, this is why the priests who who have turned, who we call those of the left hand path. What was it that turned them? It was man's uh, 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 it was man's filth. It was man's violation of the law and refusal to follow the law, claiming that you can't even they even claiming that you can't follow it. You know, and so the priests not being able to get man to come into harmony with the law simply took the law and went underground with it. You see, and so they saw man and how man's behavior, and decided that hey man, these people don't deserve this sublime wisdom. Look what they'll do with it. They'll destroy the damn universe that they have. You see, and so for this reason they have codified it and kept it in circles and
Mm-hmm.
kept you
Kept
out.
feeding you baby food because they knew that you, just like in that Bible, it say the sheep will be slaughtered. They fed you baby food when you was a baby, and they was intending on you to become an adult when you became of age. But because you were so full of the baby food, you decided to keep eating it. And therefore
Mm.
that is it's like this. How do you know who is the useless ones? By teaching everybody the same thing in the beginning, but seeing who do different over time. It's like the experiments start off the same, but you watch the results. And if your
Mm-hmm.
result is to continue to do what you was doing from the beginning of the experiment, that shows that you have not grown in the experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore it is obvious that you are the ones that need to gotten rid of in the experiment. It is obvious. The the conditions that were set forth was set in such a way to where, just like the brother said, that the sublime wisdom, the true mystery wisdom went underground. This was for those that really, because I'm gonna tell you how it really takes for you to get here. Now it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna disagree with what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. And I know those that see where I come from understand. to truly get here, you have to truly love the Creator. You cannot get here on some halfway shit. You have to truly love the Creator. And what I mean by that is that the love will be shown through your level of seeking. See, it's the level of seeking that we have sought that got us to this point. And what got us to this point was the passion or the love for the Creator. If you have not grown to the point of understanding as to where we are, I'm gonna say it, and you can be mad all you want, but you truly do not love the Creator the way you think you do. You love your worldly master, and that is the government, the police officer, because those are the ones that tell you what to do and you do it. You can argue with me about the situation, but my life is different from yours. And that is demonstrated through a variety of things that I choose not to go into right now. But I want you guys to really understand the level of love that must be placed upon the Creator in order for you to see what we're really talking about. Because if you can't see it by an hour and a half, you just not gonna see it. But it's there, it's evident. And like the brother said, you can try to debate what we're saying all you want. You will find, don't debate it off of emotion and ego. Try to debate it off of knowledge, because that will grow you. That will take you to a level to where you haven't seen before. You guys, I want to thank you for coming to Gossip. And I want you to not judge me for what I just said, for one, but to really analyze the information I just said, process the information I said, and know that I said it in peace, and know that I said it out of love. Because I don't want you to think that I think I'm better than you, because I don't think that by no means. I just have been an examiner from day one. I've examined the world from the aspect of a child to an adult. Like, there has not been a day in my mind, or, and I have to say mind because I've been in my mind a lot longer than I've been on earth. But there has not been a day where I have not analyzed my surroundings and the things that go on around me. So I want you guys to really listen to the show, you know what I'm saying? And if you can prove us wrong, by all means do so. And let me know you did. Send a voice message in, you know what I'm saying? Contact me on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Do what you gotta do. But let me know. Cause I'd rather discuss the matter than for us to go on with misconceptions.
Yeah, well,
So
you know, the way I see it is everything that, and we know this to be true because it's in all of the ancient archives. And it is what our ancestors were trying to tell us over and over again. And why they were so frantic to get us this information. we know that at the end of every age,
Mm-hmm.
that whatever was taking place during that age will be reflected on the harshness of how that age comes into being or operation. And so our ancestors wrote down all of these messages talking about Judgment Day. It says in biblical passages when speaking of Noah, of the day of the old days of Babylon, that he that just poor. I mean, excuse me, I'm tripping. That people we're getting loopy because we're sleepy, but, because we have not been following the laws, and the most will feed on its host, and feed on its host. I'm sorry.
You had went out. You
Humanity
went out.
in
Start
general
over
has
when you say
become a
most of the
parasite,
population. What?
in that we do nothing but consume and
Yeah.
very little creating, so to speak. That the general public, they don't make much of what they consume anymore. They don't grow their own food or anything like that. They don't raise their own animals. We don't do any of those things. We just take from the earth. And so we have become a parasite on the earth and amongst ourselves, where we will feed off of each other until one of us is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being that we are in violation of divine law, violation of natural law, being that we do not serve a purpose in nature anymore, right? Being that all of these things exist, we are a parasite.
Mm-hmm.
And nature, or the earth and the cosmos, is interested in things and life forms that serve a purpose or a function. And being that we no longer serve one, especially not one that is beneficial to our existence, or to the existence of our home, or our or other life form. And so we are going to be, those types of people are going to be deleted from the program. And that's about what it is. It is what it is. You are no longer useless. Therefore, your player is irrelevant. So they're going to delete them. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it except change, and fast. And with that, I'll leave it at that, and we can get back to the topic at another time, because we're being a little loopy here, simply because of how sleepy we are. We don't want to do that. We want to give the audience, good information. And so I'm going to bow out at this time, and I would hope my brother would have me back on, and we continue the show in a part two, and we'll try to do a little bit better job. Yeah, I think we've done a good job here. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much more information that we didn't go into, and I think it needs to be put out there. So with that, people, I say peace, love, and goodbye.
It sounds good to me. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us here on Gossip. And we will work on a part two, brother. And we'll call it a day. We'll call it a night.
I'll
even
talk
though
to you
it's
in a
in the
minute,
morning.
bro.